Westman this week. Dry January is just wrapped up. Did people actually stop drinking? Over in Cuba, as fuel runs out in pumps, cars start disappearing from roads. And if you want Cupid's arrow to find its mark, think flowers. All this and more on Westman this week. We begin with healthcare. In Manitoba, students of licensed practical nursing must spend up to 6 months doing practicum work in hospitals and care homes. The work isn't paid, and some students are now saying that should change. At Assiniboine College, LPN students learn hundreds of medications and countless procedures before heading out to do their practicum work. Practicums are required to earn a 2-year diploma. Practicum students take on almost identical work to full-time nurses, helping their patients take medicines, maintaining patient hygiene, and much more. Some of these LPN students say that they feel exploited with the amount of free work they're expected to do.
The care homes, I do quite understand that it is a time for us to learn and kind of get our heads wrapped around and experience what it's like in that type of work environment, because it's a completely foreign area for a lot of people. But I do believe, since we practice all these skills and we're doing constantly a lot of very healthcare aid related skills, I do think that nursing students should be paid.
We've all heard of Dine and Dash, but how about Gas and Dash? Gas theft at the pump is a problem on the rise. In 2022, Saskatchewan gas thefts were up 70% from the previous year. Here in Brandon, gas station operators and police are reporting a dramatic increase in gas theft. Drivers get fueled up at a pump and then just drive away. Staff at the stations say one person in particular has been spotted multiple times pulling this kind of fuel heist. But the manager here says although gas thefts are increasing, the problem isn't new.
It's been a pretty serious problem of ours for many, many years. I mean, even during COVID especially, we found that it was much worse.
Some apartment renters in Brandon are speaking out, saying the poor quality of their newly built apartments are giving them constant problems. Apartment building in Manitoba has jumped 5% after years of decline. Property management companies are busier than ever. But with the speed new developments are being built, can proper planning and craftsmanship keep up? 3 new buildings have been constructed at Quail Ridge in just under a year. Residents are asking if there's a connection between their maintenance headaches and the speed at which the housing was built. Complaints range from poor parking lot planning to issues with tenants' walls, bathrooms, or humidity levels.
I have visitor parking out there that I parked in for one night. I got 2 warnings, one day. And when I went to go pay for it, the office was closed because they gave me the warnings after office hours. The craftsmanship's maybe the worst stuff I've seen for sure. Angled doors and all this other stuff. And it takes them forever to hit a repair up if you want it. And like it took 2 months for someone to get their bathroom done, a week for someone to get some bedroom walls fixed or something.
People who travel downtown must always make sure to keep coins handy for the parking meters. But soon, that could be changing in the near future. The City of Brandon would start allowing people to pay digitally for street parking. Currently, downtown parking meters only accept coins as payment. The city plans to place stickers on the existing meters to give people details on how to pay by phone. While details on whether or not coins will still be accepted will be discussed at upcoming budget deliberations. City Council says their goal is a fully digital system. One local store owner says that he hopes digital parking will attract more customers.
Short term, probably not, but if more people are coming downtown, in the long term, I think all of downtown benefits and we will probably see a bit more business.
No date for the change has been set yet, but we can hope it's soon. Waves of $200 parking tickets have been sent out as vehicles obstruct snowplow routes with active parking bans. Lots of Brandon residents, though, are questioning if these tickets are fair. We are in the midst of another brutal Manitoban winter, and the snow piles only keep getting higher. Brandon residents have expressed difficulties cooperating with the parking bans as there are no accommodating methods of notifications for the ban periods. The ways to access this information can cause complications for those less tech-savvy, as well as individuals with shared parking, business owners, parents, and more. We spoke with the owner of Dreaming Big Preschool on Richmond about how her business and experience has been affected by inconsistent signage for parking bans.
Clients, customers, they might show up, and if it hasn't been plowed yet, as the times have said it's supposed to be plowed, or you don't have a space to park because it said it was supposed to be plowed, or all of a sudden the posting has just gone up and you can't park there now, that can really affect how you do business.
We are hoping to see improvements to this system in the future. Pool is a popular pastime, but some prefer to play for higher stakes. Pool League players in Brandon are practicing hard, hoping to bring home a Western Canadian title.
Brandon pool players are gearing up for one of Canada's biggest tournaments. From February 11th to 16th, pool players across Western Canada will compete to see who can bring home a coveted Charlie. The 26th annual WCBNEA is being hosted by River Cree Casino in Edmonton. The event hosts singles, scotch doubles, and 8-ball teams. The tournament is possible thanks to the Valley National 8-Ball League Association, also known as VNEA, who hold charters from British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. To be eligible for this tournament, all players must be an active player in a sanctioned VNEA league, an event dedicated to sportsmanship and showcasing talent across the West. For Westman This Week, I'm Paige Hutchinson, ANAF, Brandon.
Today is International Radio Day, an invention that began in 1897 that has swept the world. Here's Parker Henderson with more.
With National Radio Day happening this Friday and radio at its current state of not doing too well, how do supporters believe we should celebrate radio on National Radio Day? Now, there's a lot of different ways we can celebrate National Radio Day, by inviting guest speakers on to talk about digital media, storytelling, and how to keep your audience engaged, to organizing events with experts to talk about radio and how their story and how it will affect us and how it will bring us into the radio world. But the best thing you can do for radio, what I've been told, is listen to radio for 1 to 2 hours a day on that day. Because everyone's listening to Spotify and Apple Music. No one's really listening to the radio anymore. A host really wants you to listen to their show and listen to what they have to say. The radio industry has lost $1.5 billion in Canada just last year in 2025. So the best thing you can do on National Radio Day is listen to some radio. I'm Parker Henderson, Westman This Week.
How do local bars do in the sober month of dry January? Due to New Year's resolutions or dry January partakers, January seems to be a slow month for bars and alcohol vendors. The manager of the local bar, The 40, tells us that people just aren't drinking as much as previous years. He finds that adding mocktails and putting on live shows and events still brings people out when less alcohol is consumed.
So every year, everybody starts off with a dry January or whatnot. Most don't make the entire January. We notice it for about a week. With that being said, though, we still have the customers that actually physically come here. They just don't necessarily drink. So, because we still have the live concerts, things of that nature. So we started to introduce more non-alcoholic beverages. They've become quite popular, actually. We've noticed a huge increase in sales in those over the last year and a half. It's probably tripled. So,
according to studies, there has been a 13% drop in alcohol consumption since 2022. A delicious lunch is necessary for afternoon classes, but eating at the cafeteria every day may be too costly for some students. Lining up for lunch is a common scene at lunchtime. A single meal and a drink could cost more than $12 for an Assiniboine College student at the Victoria campus. If eating regularly, however, the cost soon starts to pile up. Students are wondering if the college could do something to make food more affordable.
Cafeteria is operated by a third-party vendor, Dana Hospitality. So ultimately, they set the prices based on their best business case. So the college doesn't have a lot of input on the prices, so it's a little bit difficult to say that we would do that.
Students and alumni have been enjoying Métis Week events at Assiniboine College. Our Ben Kennedy has the details.
It's Métis Week at Assiniboine College, a celebration of Métis culture that includes lessons on crafts and arts. Students from both the Victoria Avenue East and North Hill campus can take part in activities such as beading and slingshots while learning about Métis heritage. The week brings Indigenous students together to learn, share, and honor the traditions that continue to strengthen our spirit and connection to community. For Westman this week, this is Ben from Assiniboine College.
If you're superstitious, Friday the 13th might have you worried. But don't worry, if you love alternative music, tonight is your lucky night. With the details, here's Isaac Roberts.
I'm here outside Eastside Eatery on Richmond, who's offering up their space to be used for Punk's Not Dead, an all-ages punk show happening on Friday the 13th at 8 p.m. Brandon actually had quite a booming punk rock scene peaking around 1999 to 2001. Venues and centers were often booked past their legal limit, and many artists were loud and motivated in their creativity. Since then, the scene hasn't quite returned to what it was. A lot of Brandon venues don't permit much in the way of live music, and when they do, it's usually something in the realm of folk duos, country, or jazz. It's exciting to see a local place like Eastside Eatery open their doors to an energetic and unique live music experience. Punk's Not Dead will feature 5 bands, including the debut of Burn After Listening. Entry is $15 per person.
That's all the time we have for local news. After the break, Abby Jubinville has a look at international headlines.
Here's our look at national and international headlines. I'm Abby Jubinville. Tragedy struck small-town Tumbler Ridge, BC earlier this week. 10 people died in a mass shooting at the local school, including the shooter. An additional 25 people were injured. An investigation into the incident is underway. The community is said to still be in shock and mourning those killed. Prime Minister Mark Carney issued a statement expressing condolences and support for everyone affected. Canada's last mass school shooting took place in 2016 in La Loche, Saskatchewan. In Minnesota, protesters continued to demonstrate against ICE operations in Minneapolis and other communities in the state. The White House promised to draw down the numbers of immigration and customs enforcement agents. For the moment, ICE continues to arrest people, a number of whom are citizens. There are growing concerns about the treatment of people detained by ICE. Many are also worried about the impact ICE operations are having on businesses, schools, and medical facilities. The atmosphere remains tense. The Trump administration has suggested that protesters are being paid to create friction with the agency. So far, there is no evidence to support the claim. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is hopeful that ICE operations will be reduced in frequency and intensity. The Canadian-U.S. trade war is getting even nastier. Donald Trump says the U.S. should be compensated for the Gordie Howe International Bridge. but the Canadian government says it's paid for the entire build for the bridge's construction. The bridge is meant to be a vital economic link between Windsor and Detroit. Trump agreed to its construction in 2017. The bridge is still undergoing tests. Trump said on social media that he may allow the bridge to open. He may not allow the bridge to open unless the U.S. gets paid first. This controversy arose after the American owner of a nearby rival bridge complained to Trump about the competition from the new bridge. The bridge is expected to fully open in the coming months. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday. Israel's Prime Minister says Iran is the top subject on the agenda. President Trump said he's thinking about sending another aircraft carrier strike group to the Middle East. The idea is to keep pressure on Iran amid ongoing nuclear negotiations. Netanyahu is expected to press Trump to pursue a deal that would halt Iran's uranium enrichment and its ballistic missile program. Israel is also seeking an end to Iran's support for proxy groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. Cuba is facing a crisis in fuel and food supplies. The U.S. has been working to cut off oil supplies to Cuba after ousting Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro. Venezuela has been a major supplier of fuel and oil resources to Cuba. Mexico has sent humanitarian aid to the island nation despite warnings coming from the American administration. Air Canada says it is suspending flights to the island because it does not have enough jet fuel. The U.S. and Cuba are holding talks, but it remains to be seen if negotiations can be successful, as the U.S. is insisting on regime change. A scary encounter with a large wave upended a family's boat, but thankfully, scores of surfers came to the rescue. A family in Southern California is okay after a terrifying moment was captured. Large waves tossed and capsized their boat. The boat was loaded with 2 adults and 4 children. Surfers in the water immediately came to the rescue, using their boards to get the family members to safety. The victims reportedly suffered only minor cuts and bruises from the incident. And that's all the time we have for the national and international headlines. I'm Abby Jubinville. Stay tuned. Jenny Unruh has the Weekender after the break.
Hey, welcome to the Weekender for February 13th. I'm Jenny Unruh. Here's what's happening this weekend around Brandon and Western Manitoba. The Keystone Center will host the Shalico Farms Fun Weekend from the February 14th to the 17th. This is a family-focused agricultural festival. There'll be farm animals including horses and goats, lots of displays and indoor activities. Organizers say it will be fun for the whole family. Crocus Obedience and Kennel Club is offering 6 dog show trials this weekend. The event takes place at the Keystone Center. It includes 3 obedience trials and 3 rally trials. Obedience trials are a sport where dogs demonstrate how well they can listen to commands. Rally trials are miniature obstacle courses. The dogs are timed and the fastest dog wins. All animal lovers are welcome. If camping is your thing, here's a chance to check out the latest technology in RVs. The Four Seasons is hosting the largest indoor RV show in the prairies. This is the last weekend of the show, and your last opportunity to see hundreds of RVs. Doors close on the February 16th. Looking for a unique Brandon music and experience? Brandon's Eastside Eatery is hosting an all-ages punk show tonight at 8 p.m. The show is called Punk's Not Dead. 5 bands are performing. Tickets are $15. Doors open at 8 and bands begin at 9. The Brandon Festival of Arts kicks off this weekend at the Western Manitoba Centennial Auditorium. The nonprofit event is dedicated to showcasing talents in and around Brandon. Artists of all mediums show their art at the WMCA for 4 weeks during February and March. Tickets start at $10 and super passes start at $40. Children get in for free. Good news for anybody who has no plans for Valentine's Day. Landmark Cinemas has got you covered. The theater will be showing 2 love classics, Crazy Stupid Love and The Notebook. And in case you find action movies more romantic, Landmark will also be showing Crime 101 starring Chris Hemsworth. And one more event to tell you about, The Coral is playing at the Evans Theater this weekend. The movie sets in the 1910s. The story is about teenagers being recruited to fight in the World War I. Admission is $7. And to turn our attention to the weekend weather, expect the same warm February forecast we've been enjoying. On Saturday, it will be sunny with a high of 0 and a low of -11. On Sunday, you can expect a high of +1 and a low of -9. And lastly, on the Real Day, we'll see a mix of sun and cloud with a high of -4 and a low of -8. Expect the same warm weather throughout the next week. That's all we have for the Weekender. I'm Jenny Unruh. We'll be back after the break with Matt Schroeder with the sports to give us the rundown on all bump sets and rocks. Stay with us.
Welcome back. It's been a crazy week in sports, so let's get right to it. Matt Schroeder joins us now. Matt, catch us up.
That's right, Stefan. This week has been super busy in the sports world. The Wheaties fighting for an advantage, the Assiniboine Cougars proving their worth, and the Olympics in full glory. All eyes remain on Brandon as they battle for positioning and momentum heading into the final stretch run. The Wheaties were in Moose Jaw to face the Warriors on Tuesday, and they played an overtime thriller. Brett Wilson netted his first WHL goal early in the first. Nick Johnson would score the Wee Kings' second goal, and there would be a 25-minute gap between all goals. Rob Berthal would increase the Wheaties' lead to 3, 5 minutes into the third. The Warriors would then answer with 3 straight goals in 7 minutes, forcing extra time. In overtime, Jackson Jacobson would get the Wee Kings the win, making the final 4-3 for Brandon. Jaden Craw earned the 3rd star, stopping 28 of 31 shots. Every night in the WHL feels like playoff hockey, and with the Brandon Wee Kings fighting to host, that intensity is only getting louder. And with the game tonight, the Wheaties are looking for an upset to carry some momentum into this late season push. The standings are being rounded out with just over 15 games left in the season. The Brandon Wee Kings are right at the center of it all as the playoff push heats up. The Prince Albert Raiders continue to set the pace in the conference, but the Brandon Wee Kings have emerged as one of the league's most consistent challengers in 5th place. Brandon has established Assiniboine Credit Union as one of the liveliest environments in all of the league, and they hope to take more games at home as they make their final playoff positioning push. As of right now, they sit just 6 points out of hosting home ice advantage. They hope to steal 4th from the Hitmen and host round 1 of the WHL playoffs. Out west, teams like Medicine Hat and Edmonton continue to separate themselves from the rest. Now, over to the volleyball court, the Assiniboine Cougars women's team just hosted Providence over the weekend, taking both games 3-1, and securing finals on the home court behind player of the game, Heather Peak. The Cougars dominated the game from beginning to end. Peak had 14 kills and 9 digs, helping the Cougars win and to host their first ever MCAC finals match at home. It was a great weekend of volleyball for the female Cougars. As for the men, they lost their match, but the playoffs aren't completely out of the picture as they face the CMU Blazers once again tonight. This is the first time in Cougars history that Assiniboine is hosting the finals for the MCAC Volleyball Conference. Our Morgan Walker has more.
Championship volleyball is coming to Brandon as the Assiniboine Cougars women's volleyball team are set to host the MCAC Volleyball Championships. First time ever the MCAC Volleyball Championships are coming to the Assiniboine College. This is because the women's Cougars came out with a 3-1 win over the Providence University Pilots on February 7th, securing them first place in the MCAC women's volleyball standings. The provincial finals tournament will take place from Friday, February 27th to March 1st. The finals will be a best-of-3 series, including the top-ranked teams in the province. The winner will represent Manitoba at Nationals in mid-March. From Westman This Week, I'm Morgan Walker.
Now to the 2026 Winter Olympics, the Canadians have gotten a few medals to start off the events. Most notably, Canada captured a silver medal in freestyle skiing, along with bronze medals in both figure skating and snowboarding. On the ice, the Canadian hockey teams are off to a great start as of last night's matchups. The men's team is set to take on Switzerland later today after a great showing yesterday against Czechoslovakia, where they won 5-0. As well, the women's team is coming off a comfortable victory 5-0 over Finland as well. Now, before I leave you, some big news is coming up. The Assiniboine Cougars curling teams are headed to the National Collegiate Championships. Both men's and women's teams will represent Manitoba in the national tournaments taking place in Regina starting on February 17th. We talked to both the coach and the skip of the women's team, and they told us how they feel representing their province and their college.
I think it's a great opportunity for the students to participate at this level. I went to university for 6 years, and the university that I was at didn't have and didn't offer curling. I tried for 4 or 5 years to really try to get the university to offer curling, so I think it's amazing that Assiniboine College offers this to the students and gives them a great opportunity.
It is an incredible opportunity. To represent the college especially, that is a huge thing, as we'll be wearing like our Assiniboine gear the entire time. So we're not just representing us, we're representing an entire college. So it is really exciting to be going, and it means a lot that this is all of our first years, so it's a really good opportunity.
I'll be at the tournament along with a team from Westman this week. We'll bring you all the highlights. Stefan, teams from every province will be in Regina next week. It's going to be a major event.
It sounds great, and I'm glad you're going to have a little help from your friends here in the newsroom, like me, for example.
That's right, Stefan. You and I will be reporting together from Regina along with the team behind the scenes.
It'll be a lot of fun. Go Team Cougars. Thanks, Matt. As Matt said, there's also going to be a crew from right here in Brandon covering the event, and we'll bring you the highlights from the Nationals in Regina. After all that talk about curling, maybe you wish you knew how to play. Here's Jenny Unruh with an idea.
Try curling? The Brandon Curling Club is holding a Learn to Curl Day for ages 12 and over. From 1 to 3 p.m., curlers from the Brandon Curling Club are going to help inexperienced curlers on the rules of the game, how to slide, how to throw a stone, sweeping techniques, and more. There's no experience required. Entry fee is by donations. Broom and sliders are provided. They just ask that you bring clean shoes. Gather your friends and family at the Brandon Curling Club on Sunday for a great day of fun and learning. From Assiniboine College, I'm Jenny Unruh.
Tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and people show their affection in many ways. One of the most popular gifts is flowers. Sage Descharme checks to see if love is still in bloom.
Whether it's roses, tulips, or something a little more unique, Brandon florists tell me that this year's Valentine's Day rush is already in full bloom. So I stopped by just to see how they're handling things. Owners tell me that even in the year 2026, people are still buying flowers like crazy. Valentine's Day is the busiest time of year for many flower shops just like this one, and the most popular flower being the rose. Brandon florists warn that if you want roses, to order a day or two in advance, or you just might not get some for that special someone in your life. That being said, Brandon florists still experience many last-minute, day-of shoppers who have many options to pick from still. So, as Valentine's Day approaches, are you purchasing flowers for that special someone in your life? I'm Sage Ducharme from Brandon Florist's parking lot.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Westman This Week. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at WTW, I'm Stefan Struve. Have a great weekend.